School's out for the summer, and so we're hitting pause on our DIY projects to take our young family on the biggest road trip we've ever taken. We'll be loading up our trusty minivan and driving over 2,000 miles through some of the most beautiful parts of Colorado. This trip is going to be full of ups and downs.
I'm so scared.
So buckle up and join us for the Summer Adventure Series.
Before we get started, we want to say thank you to Foreo for sponsoring today's video. I love doing all kinds of at-home facial masks and spa treatments because it is just fun and relaxing. Foreo sent me their UFO 2 facial device, which is the world's most advanced smart mask. This little thing is so cool. It integrates thermotherapy, cryotherapy, and LED light therapy to push mask essence deep below the skin's surface and lock in moisture while reducing the appearance of pores, making it a lot more effective than other at-home masks. It also features T-sonic pulsations that relax your face and neck muscle tension points while boosting your skin's radiance. Oh, now there's the pulsing. Gosh, this is like, I'm gonna go lay down. I need to just lay in bed and do this. There are so many features in this one small tool, making it really easy to get a professional level treatment in the comfort of your own home. There are a wide variety of masks to choose from, and if you're not sure where to start, the app can help you figure out which masks target your specific needs. My skin has been feeling a little bit dry lately with all the time outdoors and in the sun, so I'm going to be using the H2O Overdose mask, which uses hyaluronic acid as the main ingredient, which I love because it is super moisturizing and it's really great for all skin types. In the app, you simply select the mask you want to use and it automatically goes through a unique treatment that corresponds to that mask formula. This one uses thermotherapy and pulsing that really helps the ingredients absorb well. This mask was so efficient, it only took about 2 minutes and my skin feels really soft.
Check out the link in the description box to get 21% off.
All right, so where does today's adventure take us?
Today we are leaving Texas and we are heading to Cañon City, Colorado. So this drive is supposed to be about 6 hours and 15 minutes, so it's gonna be a long driving day.
So the most exciting part about today's drive to me is that we are leaving the great state of Texas and actually getting into Colorado. And if you're wondering why it's so exciting for us to be leaving Texas, well, that's because Texas is absolutely ginormous. To be more exact, it's over 800 miles from north to south and nearly the same distance from east to west. So just to put that into perspective, in the time it would take you to drive across Texas, you could drive from the western border of Louisiana, pass through 4 states, and end up in the Atlantic Ocean. Or it's about the same distance as a drive from Paris, France, halfway across Europe to Vienna, Austria. So hopefully that gives you a little more perspective as to why we are so excited just to be driving out of Texas and into a different state. And it should also give you a little more perspective as to why we broke up our drive through Texas into 2 parts. Just in case you missed part 1 of this road trip, it was full of adventures, including a hike through the US's second largest canyon system, a stop at one of the most unique restaurants that we've ever seen,
Makes me kind of nauseous.
and a thunderstorm that only Texas could cook up. So if you missed part 1 of this adventure, you'll definitely want to go back and see how this whole journey began.
I am so excited because our kids have actually never been to the mountains before, and so this is going to be just so fun for us because 1, we love Colorado, we love hiking as a family, but it is going to be so fun for our kids to get to experience it for the first time and us to just get to see them and see their excitement and stuff, and we're excited, and to get out of the heat for a little bit because it is hot in Texas.
But before we could see any grand mountains, we still had to drive hours and hours through a lot of flat land.
Film the train track.
Okay, I am filming the train track. It's so crazy because like driving through these old towns, I recognize some of the places from our honeymoon 15 years ago, but it feels like this old dream. It's so strange.
The road where our bike came off the back, this actually looks kind of like that.
Yeah, so we had 2 mountain bikes on the back of the car, and we felt a wobbling happening in the back. So she was watching in the mirror, and at one point she was like, hey, I think the bike's about to fall off. We need to pull over and stop. And we're going like 70 down a highway. So I pull over on a road very much like the one we're on right now. It actually could have been this road. And as I pulled over and stopped, the front wheel of one bike came off and goes boing, 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 on the concrete. We're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, the bike was fine. It was literally like just in time.
And it became evident that in this part of the state, a lot of things are geared towards agriculture. This road smells like something familiar.
It stinks.
Does it? It smells like cow poop. Was that from what we ate from dinner last night? No, I'm confident that is way too strong. That's just from many a cow in the region. After driving for several hours in the sunshine, the weather was threatening to take a turn for the worst. Man, this storm is coming in. Look, you can see the dust kicking up. That's crazy.
It's like the front edge of the storm, and there's just like red dirt and then a wall of like dark.
Drive faster. Let's get past it.
It's not dark that way.
But thankfully, the weather held off long enough for us to enter New Mexico.
We just entered New Mexico, guys. We're out of Texas.
Woo! Look at the thrill, the excitement, the joy. They're probably excited because they've been seeing this for the last 2 hours. And we also felt like changing states was a good time to stop to get some gas, toot totem, take a quick potty break, and brighten up our kids' days with a little surprise. You can each get one thing.
Anything?
Almost anything. Driver change! You putting your seat heater on?
Yes, I'm cold. Oh, it smells like candy in here. I want some.
After the gas stop, we journeyed on, and we're hoping to finish up this trip dry, but it just wasn't meant to be. Well, we were hoping to avoid the rain. It didn't exactly happen, but it's all right. I'm just gonna eat a homemade chocolate chip cookie and keep on driving. The rain was coming down in sheets, but to lift our spirits, we eventually made our way into Colorado. Guys, we're in Colorado! Woo! And shortly after, we were rewarded with our first view of the mountains. Look, guys, it's the Rocky Mountains! Now, coming from Central Texas, we don't see a lot of mountains, as in, we don't see any mountains. And this actually marked the first time that our kids had ever seen mountains with their own eyes. Mountains! And just like you might suspect, the mountains could only keep our kids' attention for so long, and then we were back into just driving and surviving. And just to ensure that we didn't lose our minds or pee our pants, we made a quick stop. Shall we go tinkle now?
This is the Colorado State Road map, guys.
It's Buddy Bear. This rest stop not only had bathrooms, but it also had some pretty beautiful views, which was a plus. So with a little more pep in our step, we were ready to get back on the road and finish up the last leg of the drive. I know I keep taking so many videos of the mountains and I'm like, is that too much? But that's just kind of why I love Colorado. It's like everywhere you look, it's just beautiful. Maybe that's because we come from Texas and it's just dramatically different to what we're used to, but I can hear John Denver singing over me right now. Rocky Mountain High, And finally, nearly 1,000 miles into this road trip, we had arrived at our first Colorado destination, Cañon City.
Oh my gosh, guys, look!
Did y'all see that snow-capped mountain?
Yeah! I'll go into a mountain.
You want to go into a mountain?
Yeah.
Me too. Now, to be more exact, we weren't actually staying in Cañon City. We were staying about 40 minutes outside of Cañon City, way out in the country on a dirt road that turned out to be absolutely gorgeous. How about that?
This is so crazy. It just doesn't even look real.
What do you think, guys?
I know.
It's crazy. The further we drove, the more breathtaking the views became. And finally, we arrived at the Whispering Aspen Ranch, our home for this leg of the trip. The ranch has a classic, beautiful log cabin on tons of land surrounded by absolutely breathtaking views.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Asher, come on in.
This is actually pretty awesome. This exceeds my expectations. Hello, cabin. Well, I like my pine cone.
All right, really quick, we want to give you a tour of this incredible cabin. So this is the main living area upstairs. There is a fireplace when they have a couple of synthetic wood logs. So that was nice because it's actually been cold up here. They have toys here, which is awesome for the kids. We didn't use the TV at all because look at this. It's incredible. This is the dining area. The table is huge and it's so awesome. I love all like the unique cabin furniture. I feel like they did a good job furnishing the house for the style of the house. It's fun. Into the kitchen. The kitchen is fully stocked, which is awesome because we plan to do a lot of cooking here since the closest town is about 45 minutes away. Now, right off the kitchen, we have the first bedroom and bathroom off the main floor. Now let's go check out the downstairs. This is the downstairs game room, which is so fun. They have a piano, record player, a ton of DVDs, TV, 2 futons, a little pull-out sofa, and then there's also another bedroom and full bathroom. And we're calling this the boy floor because all of our boys are sleeping down here and they're pretty excited about it.
How is it, G-Man?
Good.
You have your own room, huh? Sweet.
Head back upstairs and then up some more stairs because the primary bedroom is up really high and it's cool. Okay, I'm a little bit out of breath.
Me too.
Every time it gets me, every time I go up those 2 flights, I'm like, okay, we're up pretty high right now. So this is the primary bedroom. There's like views from every direction. You can see out through the huge living room windows, which is behind you. Then we've got doors here, doors here. And the ceiling is so cool in here. It's vaulted and you've got these massive beams. It is so unique and so beautiful. And then there's a full bathroom up here. A big bed, it's comfy. It's just a really nice, cozy, comfortable spot, and it's cool that you kind of look down and check out the rest of the house too.
But the primary feature of this house, and the reason why we are so excited to stay here, is of course the view. The Whispering Aspen Ranch has to be the very epitome of a cabin in the woods, and it was easily the most remote place that we have ever stayed. In fact, in flying the drone, I could only see one other home in this entire area. I mean, literally looking off the back porch looks like straight out of a postcard, a movie, like it is.
It's crazy. I keep saying I'm so glad we're getting video footage of this because I don't think that my mind could really remember this rightly. It's just crazy. Like even when we're looking at it, it's just like, is this even real? This is insane.
How's this for a morning view?
I think this is the best cup of morning coffee I've ever had.
Good morning. It's an absolutely gorgeous morning with an absolutely gorgeous view. So we're just enjoying a little cup of coffee. Kids are currently inside playing. We're trying to get them to enjoy the view, but they just don't really know what to do with it.
Okay. You see the massive mountain?
Yeah.
That's Pikes Peak. Isn't that crazy?
Does it have snow?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Inside.
You see it with the snow on top?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
So for today, the boys are on breakfast duty, so they're going to get that going. And then we have a big adventure planned for later. I think the craziest part is there is no noise, no sounds. And you can imagine what kind of contrast that is for parents of 4 young kids. So let's just be quiet for a minute and listen to only the natural sounds. Go. Eventually, we were ready to go inside and enjoy breakfast together with our family while being bathed in Colorado sunlight, and then we cleaned everything up to get ready for the day's big adventure. What'd you find, buddy?
Pine cones.
Ooh, cool. And on the way out of the neighborhood, if you can call it a neighborhood, we were again blown away by the incredible views that surrounded us.
Oh my gosh. Guys, look, that's insane.
The drive into town took almost an hour, but everyone was in good spirits, and it's really hard to be in bad spirits when you have views like this everywhere you look. It's literally so beautiful, it's insane. It's like driving through a postcard over and over.
It really is.
All right, so we're gonna stop staring out the windows and ask, where does today's adventure take us?
Today we are heading to the Royal Gorge, what is it, Bridge and Park?
So we're going to the Royal Gorge Bridge. It's like this huge canyon with a massive bridge you can walk over.
I'm already getting a little nervous on some of the turns back there where it just looks like a drop off. We have some pretty like crazy drives coming up too, and I have already been thinking like when we were planning these trips, like am I going to be able to drive this or I'm so scared.
Holy smokes, that is deep and wide. All right, let's just pull in. Just don't pull off
too far.
Don't pull off the cliff, okay? Finally, we had reached the Royal Gorge Park and Bridge. This suspension bridge was constructed in 1929, and it held the record as the world's tallest bridge until 2001. And at nearly 1,000 feet deep, it still retains its title as the U.S.'s highest bridge. After taking an initial look around, the first order of business was to ride the gondola. So we're gonna ride the gondola first because that was what we were advised to do, because if inclement weather comes in and wind gets high, they'll close down the gondola, and it's currently open. So we're gonna jump on that gondola. Right, Jude man?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother. And it's moments like these when Andrea's fear of heights really comes into play.
Levi, come sit by me. Come on, we've got too much weight on one side. Come sit on the other side.
Mommy's
yeah.
getting a little scared.
This is Sheriff.
terrifying. It feels like
Oh
I'm
my
going down.
gosh.
And amazing.
Look
Down. It actually helps. It helps. Oh my. No. Never mind. That does not help.
It's a long way down, folks.
This is where we are.
There's water at the
Get it together, Andrea.
Sit down. You can't stand up.
I mean, I have to sit right back.
Guys, careful as you exit.
Exit it first.
After safely returning from the gondola ride and Andrea checked her pants, we were ready to walk across the Royal Gorge Bridge. It's certainly a unique experience to walk across a bridge that's nearly 1,000 feet off the ground. And apparently they're not concerned about the several-inch gaps that are forming across the bridge.
Stick your shoe in the hole.
We even got to witness a really cool flyover from a massive old plane. After exploring the bridge, we grabbed a quick bite of lunch and then headed over to this really cool play place. This playground was really cool and our kids were having an absolute blast. That is until things went horribly wrong and we were about to step into one of those scary parenting moments that you wish would never happen.
Gotcha.
Wait, no, Levi's crying.
So when I came up on Levi, he was moaning and crying and writhing on the ground. And the best we can tell, he fell from over 10 feet backwards. And it wasn't pretty. So I basically had to carry him to try and find medical help. And when we did find a little bit of help, they said the nearest hospital was an hour and a half away. He had definitely hit his head really hard. He wasn't fully there. He said his wrist was hurting really bad. He couldn't walk on his ankle. It was super painful. And so we drove to the hospital, and honestly, I just had a huge pit in my stomach because honestly, I was scared for my son. And more than just our love for Levi, if he broke his ankle on the first day of our trip in Colorado, where we're mostly doing hiking, well, this thing was over. So after a long and scary drive, we finally got to the ER. I carried him inside, and it was just a scary time. There was only 2 of us allowed in the ER room, so it was me and Levi. The rest of the family were out. We were an hour and a half from our Airbnb. We only had 1 car. There was no cell service in the hospital. It was just a mess. First, he got a CT scan done, but he had to go and do that by himself. I couldn't go with him, which is really scary for him. He's barely even been in a hospital before. Thankfully, it came back clear. They said he had a minor concussion. They could see the swelling in the back of his head, but there was no brain damage or anything serious. So then it was time for a lot more waiting. And in that time, basically, Levi cried a bunch. I cried a bunch. I mean, we just basically cried together. Then a long time later, it was finally time for x-rays. They did his wrist first, and they said there might have been a really, really small fracture, but it was too small to really tell. But thankfully, all he needed was a soft cast, and he was gonna be okay. But the big test for me was his ankle, and I was so scared he had broken it because he couldn't walk on it at all. He was in excruciating pain, but somehow, after that fall, his ankle was okay. There was nothing broken. It was just a severe sprain, and I was like, Lord, I can't believe this. But in the end, after spending this time with Levi, we just grew. We bonded in this intense moment, and it became one of those things that it's like I would never choose this, but I also wouldn't change this. I mean, we laughed together. We cried so much together. We prayed together. We just simply held each other. I mean, it was so intense, but it did something special in our relationship. And so that's the silver lining that we're coming away with, is that he's okay. He just needs to rest and recover. And we experienced something together, and that forms a bond that only sometimes these difficult times can form. So finally, after hours and hours, we were ready to leave the hospital and head back to the Airbnb.
Your siblings got you something while you were in the ER, Levi. They were all really concerned about you.
Thanks, guys. The drive home was rainy, which seemed to match our mood. But as God would have it, this storm eventually gave way to leave beauty in its wake. And we were quietly treated to some of the most breathtaking and unexpected things we had ever seen. Sunlight catches my tears. A rainbow promise appears that you're here. That you're here. When beauty mingles with pain, the picture reminds me again that you're here. That you're After spending a couple of days laying low and letting Levi rest and recover, we were ready to head back out for 2 relatively short but extremely cool adventures. First, we decided to take a trip over Skyline Drive. This 2.5-mile pass is flanked by sheer drops on either side of the road, and it was thoroughly testing Andrea's fear of heights.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. My palms are getting sweaty.
It's hard to get it on camera, but it looks like you're gonna fall off a cliff down there. Whoa, what do you guys think? Look out the window. What do y'all think?
Not sure if this is worth falling off.
It goes on both sides.
Holy mackerel.
He was obviously
Y'all, please be quiet.
This is crazy.
I think I'm gonna barf.
Andrea was on the verge of hyperventilating.
I'm scared.
We're like,
This is crazy.
we're like 3 feet.
I'm gonna really enjoy watching the video, but I'm like eyes locked on the road. I can't even, like, peripheral vision is enough for me right now.
And her fears are warranted, as this road was voted the 4th most dangerous road in the United States.
Okay, this is way scarier than a roller coaster.
Dude, this is crazy.
Stop it! No, it's not doing good things when we make comments like that.
And so we pulled over to take a quick pause.
I feel a little better on this wide area. My palms are literally sweaty. When you start going, oh my gosh, I'm like, get ready. Whew, we're going down. Okay, that makes me feel a little better.
So how much are you loving this?
I'm feeling a little better because I can like see the incline like that. For some reason, that's not as bad. What's really scary is when you see a drop off on the side and then you can't see, like you're cresting a hill, and I'm like, in my mind I'm picturing like the top of a roller coaster and it's just gonna drop. We're gonna go drop off the top.
What do you guys think?
It's cool. I like seeing Mom freak out.
Finally, we were ready to head down the mountain and let Andrea's heart rate go back to normal. We made it! We're alive! Good job.
You know, that was good. That was like a baby Pikes Peak. So we really wanted to drive Pikes Peak because we're not that far from it. We can actually see it from our house. But the weather has not been good at all. And so they haven't even had the roads open on the top third. Like you can't get above the tree line because there's so much snow, which is crazy because we're in June. But I'm starting to think, you know, maybe this was better for me. Maybe this was a good, maybe Pikes Peak would have been a little bit much. All right, so we have one more stop before we go grab some food. We are really close to Tunnel Drive Trail, and so we are gonna just try the very first bit of it because Levi's ankle is healing up. We're gonna test it out.
It's supposed to be really cool. So our second adventure of the day was less on the scary side and more on the cool side. The first minivan. You know, the precursor to the other minivan. The kids could sense that awesomeness was ahead, and so they started getting excited as we began the hike. Hey, you're falling behind with this backward walking. You're gonna have to turn around. So Mom and Levi turned around. His ankle was hurting a bit, not terribly, but just some. But honestly, we're just thankful he can walk at all at this point. And so they're gonna take it easy, rest in the car while we go up to the top. And man, it's thin air in Colorado. While Andrea and Levi went back to the car, I journeyed on with 3 of our kids. And after about 10 excitable detours... Hey, catch up, man. Don't fall off of there, please. Wait, little detour, what happened? We got off the road, man.
Some people just climbed up.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go down that way. It's another little detour here. Mountain climbers. We finally reached our first tunnel and it was crazy cool. The excitement was definitely in the air and it was hard for me to keep up with our kids. When you're walking through these tunnels, it almost feels a bit like you're in some alien world. Honestly, this is way cooler than expected. I mean, it's beautiful, the walking path is awesome, and there's tunnels. I mean, how cool are tunnels? Not only was the trail itself incredible, but it was right next to a river, which just added to the beauty. So after the full tunnel drive experience, we were finally ready to end this leg of the journey and head on to our next adventure. So the time has come for us to leave Cañon City, but we have really enjoyed our stay here. There are endless beautiful views, including just the drive in. I mean, it's incredible. So we're super grateful for this leg of the trip, and now it's on to the next leg of our trip.
I know. I was talking to the kids this morning and I was like, you know, normally it's so sad when you pack up the house and you're like, oh, the trip's over. But we're packing up and we're like, we're going to another cool place. I'm sure when we get to our last stops, we're going to start feeling sad.
You won't want to miss the next installment of this adventure as we go to another incredible cabin with absolutely gorgeous views. And then we'll take a day trip into Ouray, known as the Swiss Alps of the United States. There are lots of adventures to come, and we'll catch you in the next one.